YouTube, New York Half-Ass Prepper here. I'm sitting over here at, I guess this is considered my side job. And I'm waiting around for a few hours and I got bored, so I figured I would show you this cool pistol that I have here. This is a Heckler & Koch HK P9S. And according to Wikipedia, the S stands for something in German, I believe, Spanzerbug. I'm not German, I don't pretend to be, but I think that means, well, it does mean double action. So this pistol was designed in 1965, and they manufactured it from 69 to 78. And it was revolutionary back in the day, because it has all of these modern features that you have in modern pistols, but they were doing this back in 1969. And I got it. It's an interesting story. I went over to this old timer's house, and he is getting out of the gun business. He's getting out of the human being business because he's old. And his wife gave him the ultimatum, said, you better start selling some of this stuff in your collection. Otherwise, I'm going to start selling it for you. You're 74. How much more are you going to shoot? What are you going to do with this stuff? So he said, all right. So I was one of the buyers lined up to take a few items off his hands. So he didn't have the whole gun. He only had this slide, and he had it brand new, never been fired, sitting in a plastic bag for, I don't know, he probably got a hold of the thing in 1969, for all I know. But anyway, so I purchased a slide off him, and then I found this complete frame on Gunbroker, and I was able to make a complete gun. And the magazines, this is not an original HK magazine, although they're available on Gunbroker for about $100. I got this at keepshooting.com, which sells old obsolete magazines for guns that they don't make anymore. And it was around $30. It was a good deal. So if you have one of these old oddball guns, you could try keepshooting.com, see if they got the mags for it. And I believe this is this gun holds 9+1, which was more than the guns at the time. It's got some nice witness holes on it too. It's pretty cool. Anyway, it's a European gun. You can see the European magazine release down here. Some people call that the heel mag release or whatever. And it's got this this lever on the side, which is kind of interesting. This is a frame-mounted safety, and strictly a safety. It turns up a little gumazigam in there that keeps the hammer from hitting the firing pin. And it also has a cocking indicator. You can see that on the back of the gun. Which I'm not sure how that works. I haven't opened up the slide to see how that works, but it actually has a hammer. It's not striker fire. There's a little hammer in there, but that's a cocking indicator. So this lever is dual purpose. If you push it down really hard, it cocks the firearm, and you get a single action trigger pull. And I think there might be something wrong with this, because the single action is like scary on this gun. That was actually in the safe position. This is fire. It pulls that out, and then you have single action, or you could fire the gun double action. Now the second function, well, actually, it serves three functions, because it's also the slide stop or the slide release. But let's say you have the gun cocked, it offers a decocker, which was revolutionary at the time. There was no other guns out there with a decocker. So to decock the gun, which is kind of funky, but I would suggest that you point this in a safe direction when you do something like this. Or maybe you can put the safety on and make it safer. But you push this down, you pull the trigger, and you release, and it decocks. So they would never put controls like that on guns nowadays. But this is old school. Now the only, it's a cool gun. I've shot this. I'm going to try to roll in some footage. Maybe not right now, maybe in a separate video of shooting it. But it has an interesting design inside. It's a roller delayed blowback, which is the same design as the HK91. And there's two little ball bearings or two little rollers in there that slow the slide coming back. And that's how it works. And it's a fixed barrel design. The The U.S. Navy actually used this pistol for a while because of the fixed barrel design. It lent itself to using a suppressor, and you didn't have to do any mods. You didn't have to compensate for the extra gases or anything. It worked out real well. However, they had to, because the suppressors back then were larger, they had to put sights on a suppressor, I understand, according to Wikipedia. Anyway, what else? Oh, up here is the little latch that releases the slide to get it off the frame. And the one thing that's interesting about this gun, and I guess they didn't think of left-handed people back then, but it is not ambidextrous. Because it has this ridge in the thing, and then your decocker or cocker is right here. So it is super uncomfortable to grab this with your left hand. I guess they just didn't think of stuff like that back then, that somebody left-handed would want to use one of these. So I'm going to pause the camera, and we're going to take a look inside for a minute, because it's kind of cool. I had to pause it because I need two hands, number one. And number two, I don't really know how to do it correctly. I can get it off, but I don't know without a manual what the correct real procedure is to do it. So I got to fool around with it a little bit. But anyway, this is the hammer right here. It's kind of an odd shape, but that's the hammer. It cocks back, when the action cycles, or it'll go back on double action, or it'll cock back with the decocker or the cocker. And I'll show you this other feature. To decock it, you hold this down, pull the trigger, and it pops back up, which is kind of scary because the firing pin is right in front of that sucker. So I would suggest, if you have one of these, you put it on safe if you're going to be doing that. So this is the inside of the slide. It pretty much feel strips like any other pistol. You pop this guy out. It's it's hard to do it with one hand. But anyway, that comes out. There's a spring in there. It's a fixed barrel, but if you look right in here, I don't know if you could see this in the video, but up in here is the little rollers. And the way this guy works is that the rollers slow down the slide coming back in the action, and that's what makes it work. And it's the exact same principle as the HK91, just scaled down. And you can see up in there is where the firing pin is, and hit this safety. See if you guys can see that. It puts a little tiny shield in front of the firing pin. So the hammer will still move around and everything, but it has no chance of hitting the firing pin because of this little shield that goes in front of there. So, look at the guts in here. It's a really cool pistol, and when I saw this guy slide, I said that would be interesting to have an HK. I think it's the only HK firearm that I own, and it shoots beautifully. And because of this fixed barrel design, it's extremely accurate. But I got it basically because it's cool. So that's the story here. That's what I'm sticking to. So here is the HK9S, and hopefully it's a shitty rainy day here today, so there's no chance of shooting today, but when I get to it, we'll get some shooting footage up. I'm out.